Most experts on 2025 called doom, gloom, recession. If you followed their investment advice, you would have underperformed significantly. JP Morgan, one of the biggest names in the finance industry in the whole world, predicted a greater than 50% chance of recession last year. And they got it completely and utterly wrong. So what actually happened? On three of my portfolios, they're between 25 and 35% up. To my fourth one, which is, I get it, a bit more high risk, is up 75%. It was so easy in the last 12 months to make money on the stock market. Most experts on 2025 called doom, gloom, recession, crash, stock market, Donald Trump. If you followed their investment advice, you would have underperformed significantly. If you exited the US market, if you exited technology, if you believed the US was all going to come crumbling down, like JP Morgan did, they forecasted that there was sort of going to be a recession in the US, you would have performed terribly last year. Think JP Morgan, one of the biggest names in the finance industry in the whole world, predicted a greater than 50% chance of recession last year. And they got it completely and utterly wrong. So what actually happened? GDP growth of 4.3% in the US market. True inflation, 1.7%. Kicking absolute goals. If you don't believe me, go look up Australia's performance. Absolutely dismal. And that's the difference the leadership has. No recession, just growth. Again, opportunities. Think tech. I don't understand in the last 20 years how people haven't been heavily invested in technology. Heavily invested. I think about it right now. I'm using Mac, use iPhone, Windows, Microsoft. And I'm like, these stable companies have always been the future. And I think about this as like a total return. So look at this calculator. If we look at like the NASDAQ for the last 10 years, say you invested $10,000 into the NASDAQ 10 years ago, you would have had a cumulative return of 20%. Amazing. Be worth 62,000 today. And that is backing technology. So when I think about other industries and I think about where we're going in the future, I think about what Tesla's doing. I think what Microsoft are doing, Google are doing, like it's absolutely bonkers and phenomenal. So why would I not keep backing those quality companies? The companies that are boring, like a Costco that just, if you think about Costco, they're just selling goods, membership, they're boring. They look at their profit. Their profit percentage is dismal compared to a technology-based company. Doesn't mean they're not big. It doesn't mean they don't have high revenue, but their profit is dismal. Coles, Woolworths, another prime example of dismal profits. Don't believe me? Look it up. Look up their profit margin, post it in the comments below, and look up what Google, Microsoft, what their profit margins are. Post that in the comments below. But think about this and go, why would I not back technology, right? Technology is the future. And in 2025, it's going to be no different. It doesn't mean we go out there and we buy speculative companies and companies that have a high P ratio and under-delivered or may under-deliver, which would impact the capital valuation of those companies. But what we've got to do is we've got to look at the trends that are going on. So we look at this technology. Think of AI, chips, LMOs, right? Like they're the big winners of the last 2 years, 3 years, and they're probably going to be the winner for this year and the coming future, right? We have an energy transition. Think about like critical minerals. Think about, lithium batteries. Think about, how we're going to transition and we're going to build all these data centers and how we're going to create the energy needed to run those data centers. Think about that. Only problem in investing in energy, gold, silver, iron ore, ore, diesel, petrol, it doesn't really matter, is they're all a commodity. And as those commodity prices rises, more and more people go into the market to mine it, drill it, find it. And more supply hits the market, price goes down, prices drop, companies' profits drop. Therefore, share price drops, right? So it's really, really hard. Think about defense, security. They're probably going to be big winners in the next 12 months. Whether I would invest in defense companies is a separate matter. I don't believe I do invest in them. Not directly. But, they're probably going to be the big winners. Think about Donald Trump wanting to spend $1.5 trillion, dollars, 1.5 trillion on defense spending this year. Crazy, right? So defense player, like they're going to be winning infrastructure. Anyone in the infrastructure building, whether we're talking about the actual physical, like the labor components, the materials, the software builds, any, hardware, trucks, you you know, forklifts, those type of stuff, they're all going to be big, big winners because one, you've got this infrastructure build going on in the US, which is insane. All the manufacturing coming back to the US, which is insane. You have a massive amount of government jobs being terminated, and those employees now pushing into the private sector. Those private sector is now building things, bringing jobs back to America. And then you have the data centers, like this build out of data centers and data center build out plus energy build out to supply the data centers is going to be phenomenal. But again, you got to stay in your lane, pick what industry is right for you. I think for me, it's technology. I can't fathom how technology isn't the winner always. So think about the next 12 months. You want to make analytical decisions rather than emotional decisions. Far too often, I see people get up on stage, talk about being an expert, have bugger all money invested in the market or bugger all money that they manage themselves, right? Or other people's money that they manage, and they spew fear. Don't listen to the fear, right? There are plenty of amazing opportunities out there to invest in. But what you really got to do is look at your performance over the last 12 months. It's one of the easiest years that I've had investing, one of the easiest years. My portfolios are between 25 and 35% up on three of my portfolios. My fourth one, which is, I get it, a bit more high risk, is up 75%. It was so easy in the last 12 months to make money on the stock market. So what I want you to do is that if you use an advisor, they've got a tailored approach to your personal circumstances. And they'll be considering all that while they look at the ratio of how much money do they invest in defensive stocks, growth stocks, cash yielding investments, and they create a wholesome strategy for you, right? But if you're doing the investments yourself, then I want you to look at is, did you beat the S&P 500? Did you beat the NASDAQ 100? Did you beat the ASX 200? Comment in the comment section below. Because if you didn't beat it in one of the easiest years, then it might be time to change where you're getting your information from, because it was a really easy year to make money and we're not going to be so fortunate in the future. I'm Gary Brown. Keep investing and take control of your financial future.